The best day of the week for a lot of people is actually the payday. It's actually the payday. When you talk about the payday, that's when you are actually paid your salary. The payday is actually the day for payment of salary, and most workers are actually very happy during this period because that's where money is actually coming in. Unfortunately, the payday is also a day where a lot of people actually engage in what I call impromptu buying, uncontrolled buying. It's actually a day where people actually engage in buying one thing or the other, and at the end of the day, they find themselves in debt. Each time you get your salary, how do you use your money? And that's why I will be talking about how to build wealth through your salary. A lot of people don't know that you can actually build wealth through your salary. When you get paid at the end of the month, how do you actually use the money? Do you use that money to buy miscellaneous things or things that can actually not create value for you, or things that cannot add value to your life? Do you buy liabilities at the end of the day and not buying an asset? If you buy assets, you are building for the future. But if you buy liabilities, you are not preparing for the future. You are actually preparing to fail. Now, do you know that apart from the fact that you are getting paid at the end of the month, you can also get paid every day? A lot of people don't know this, that you can actually earn money every day apart from your salary. So the payday is actually the best day. But the best day of your life can be a situation where you're actually earning money every day, which is also very, very possible. But a lot of people will say, wow, how is that possible? Of course, it's actually possible. And it is not actually something illicit or something illegal or something that is against the law. It is actually legit. It's actually real. So apart from your primary job, you can also be making money every day. Apart from the MMM and the CPS and those fictitious and illegal forms of financial transactions, you can also make money every day. You see, by watching this video from the beginning to the end, I will teach you how to actually build wealth through your salary, because a lot of us don't even know that we can build wealth to become wealthy through our salary at the end of the day. I want to assure you that you can actually build wealth, you can actually build financial independence, you can actually be rich even without engaging in any form of illegal activities. Number one thing that you need to do if you want to build your wealth through salary is to automate your money. Automating your money. You see, a lot of people make the mistake that when they get paid at the end of the month, they spend the money flamboyantly because there's no plan for the money, because they don't have any form of plan. They buy things that they don't need to buy, they purchase things that they don't need to purchase, and because of the higher level of inflation in this part of the world, you discover that even before the 5th of the month, that money is actually gone. The reason is that a lot of us don't actually automate this money. Now, what is the meaning of automating your money? When I say automating your money, what I'm saying here is that you need to have 3 different bank accounts for you to be able to build wealth through your salary. So having a 3 bank account entails that one account will be for your spending, one account will be for your investment, and one account will be for your savings. So you need to have 3 bank accounts if you want to have or build wealth through your salary. When you have 3 bank accounts, you will avoid what I call accidental spending or impromptu spending. In other words, once that money is being paid to you, what you need to do is to split that money into 3 parts. One will go for bank A, one will go for the first account, one will go for the second account, and the third one will go for the third account. In other words, you can ask your bank to actually assist you in this process through what I call automation. That is, once you get paid, your bank will automatically split the money for you. You can actually make a lot of mistakes when you don't actually automate your money. We are now in a grab society where a lot of things are very attractive, and when you see those things, you're always tempted to buy them at the end of the day. But when you buy these things, before you realize it, your money has already gone. A lot of us are victims of this circumstance. The first thing you need to do is to create what I call a system for your money. Creating a system for your money will actually go a long way in building wealth for you at the end of the day. So how do you systemize or create a system for your money? When you say creating a system for your money, what we're saying here in a simple term is that you need to break your money into a plan, into a workable plan. And what is this workable plan? Like I said earlier, you have 3 ways you can actually put your money into at the end of the month. You can put your money into first account, second account, and third account. Now, when you put that money into these 3 various accounts in the bank, you need what we call systemizing that money. Now, when you talk about systemizing that money, you give some certain amount of money to each of them. It's actually depending on your preferences or your choice. Number one, you can say 75% of that money should go for spending, 15% of that money should go for investment, and 10% of that money should go for your savings at the end of the day. So you can actually automate that process by yourself by determining the percentage that should go for savings, the percentage that will go for investment, and the percentage that can actually go for your savings. When you actually prioritize or systemize your money in this process, you avoid what I call accidental spending. When you prioritize your money in this form, you avoid impromptu buying. Then you can be able to know the amount of money you can actually spend in a month, the amount of money you can actually save in a month, and the amount of money you can actually invest in a month. Through this process, you can actually build wealth. Now, this thing is not a mirage, it's not utopia, it's not fake, or it's not fictitious. It's actually the reality, because a lot of people have actually built wealth through this process of systemizing their money. So once you get paid at the end of the month, make sure you divide your money into spending, savings, and investment. Certain amount of money should go for savings, certain amount of money should go for investment, and certain amount of money should go for spending. Number 3 ways through which you can use your salary to build wealth for yourself is to invest in your financial education. You see, financial education is very imperative. It's very important for you to actually be able to build their wealth, because if you don't have financial education, you may not be able to know that you need to automate your money. You may not be able to know that you need to systemize your money. So financial education is very important in a capitalist economy or in a free market economic system. Now, you see, financial education, or what we learn in financial educations, are things that they will not teach us in the university or in the secondary school or in your PhD or your masters. Nobody will teach you how to make money. They will only teach you the fundamentals, but they will not teach you how to make money. So our educational system will not teach us what we call financial education, but you can get financial education when you actually invest in financial education. So we all have spending goals, or what we actually want to or intend to spend our money on. But if you don't have the financial education or the background of what you actually want to spend your money on, there's every possibility that you may end up spending more than you actually planned for. As an investor, we need to invest in our financial education by making educational purchases on what can actually build us. Because that's actually been proven over the years that people that actually succeed or become wealthy one way or the other is when they have financial education, or financial education has maybe to improve their lifestyle and also building wealth for themselves over the years. So financial education is very, very imperative. When you're talking about financial education, there are so many ways you can actually educate yourself. You can be reading books, you can be watching podcasts or listening to podcasts, you can read biographies or so many other things. But reading books entails that you read books on what we call money management and investing. You read books on investment or business. You read books on what I call leadership and management. You read books on what I call sales and negotiation. You read books on what I call personal development, and you can also read books on what we call biographies of successful people. You can build your wealth through this pattern. So building wealth entails that you need financial education. You need to tax yourself. You need to ask yourself, what do I want to build in the future? Do I want to have financial independence, or do I want to find myself in a rat race, or do I want to find myself in a financial predicament where I will not be able to afford the basic necessities of life, even when I'm retired or I'm not working again? Because life happens and retirement takes a lot of money. So if you're not actually prepared for retirement or the future, you may find yourself in financial predicament. But when you have this financial education, it will be able to help you to build up your finances and build up your wealth one way or the other. So you can build up yourself by reading books, on money management, on investment, on business, on leadership and management, and sales and negotiation, personal development, and biographies. I can guarantee you, by the time you read all these things, by the time you develop yourself in all these areas, you are going to be well grounded and you are going to be thinking differently. You are going to have what I call the minority mindset, not the majority mindset. You'll be able to know that when you earn your money, you are not supposed to spend everything at the same time. You need to leave room for investment. I need to leave room for savings at the end of the day. Then I need to, clarify this. A lot of people have always been saying that I save money, to build for the future. But I can tell you that saving money is not a method or medium for creating wealth, because over time money is going to lose value. But the only thing that you can do that can create wealth for you in the future is when you invest your money, because investment is not affected by inflation, because at that time your money is keeping or will continue to create value for itself over time through a decade of sacrifice. Number 4 way through which your salary can make you to become wealthy is when you work to get a raise and reinvest the money. Working to get a raise and reinvesting the money. You see, over time, a lot of us have always been bothered in our workplace that we need, increment in our salary. I needed a raise, my money should be increased, my salary should be increased, and the rest of them. But unfortunately, even when we get the salary raise, a lot of us, just like they say, more money, more problem. The more we get more salary raise, the more we invest the money into things that does not create value in our life. So a lot of us actually wanted to get the raise, but unfortunately, when we get the money, we end up spending the money on things that will not create value for us. So what we're saying here is that for you to actually use your money to become wealthy, is that even when you get that raise, that money should not be spent extravagantly or should not be spent flamboyantly. In other words, you need to reinvest that money. That increment that you have been giving your office, that salary increase, maybe 5,000 or 10,000 or 15,000 or 20,000. Imagine if there's a salary increase, for example, of 20,000 naira you want in your salary, that is, you have gotten an increment of 20,000 now. Now calculate 20,000 naira times 12 months. That is, you are going to have like 240,000. You are not supposed to spend that money, because a lot of time people say, now I've gotten the increment, I can increase my spending. But that is not the time to increase your spending. That money should be put into something else that can create more value for you. That money should be put into investment. So your salary raise, your salary increment should not be used for flamboyant or expensive or extravagant spending, but that money should be reinvested into your investment portfolio. Salary raise is not for extravagant spending. Salary raise is not for you to increase your spending on your lifestyle. For example, but some people say, now I'm leaving this house, let me leave this house, this apartment is too small for me, let me go for a bigger apartment. I'm using this car is too small for me now, let me buy a more expensive car. Or they may say, I need more shirt, I need more designer clothes, I need more shoes and the rest of them, wristwatches and the rest of them. And so at the end of the day, most people will spend that salary raise on things that are not relevant. But what we're saying here is that if you want to use your salary to build wealth, your increment at the end of the year should be used or invested into your portfolio investment. Because the more you invest, the more you become wealthy. The more you invest over time, the more you become successful. The more you are going to become wealthier at the end of the day. So investment is actually the key to the future. If you want to use your salary to build wealth, number 5, you need to use your credit card smartly. You see, a lot of us don't know the benefit or the value of credit card. A lot of people believe that, most especially in the middle class and the lower class, that credit card is used to purchase, to buy things. You understand? But they don't understand the intricacies of the credit card. Because when you get the credit card, you are actually making other people to be rich. When you get a credit card or you go for a loan, at the end of the day, you are making somebody rich. You are making those mortgage finance institutions to be rich, or you are making, the easy buy or pay later and the rest of them. You are making them to be very rich. They are making more money at your own expense. So you need to understand that when you have a credit card, or you have a loan, or you have a loan facility that you are servicing, you need to use it very, very smartly. So if you cannot control your spending, you should not use a credit card. That's what I'm saying. So if you cannot control your spending, if you are the kind of person that you have an insatiable urge for everything you see you want to buy, credit card is not for you. A loan is not for you. So if you have a credit card that you are worried about, then credit card is not for you or your interest as well, which is number 2. Then if you are the kind of person that you don't pay up in time, or you are always defaulting, the credit card is also not for you. So then if you are the kind of person that you are always indebted in one mortgage finance institution, you're indebted in easy buy now, pay later, you have multiple streams of debt that you're actually servicing, the debt credit card is actually not for you as well. So you need to learn how to use your credit card smartly. So having a credit card does not entail that you need to use it to buy extravagant things. I always tell people that when you have a credit card or you have a loan facility, it should be used for something that will create more value for you and not things that will not create value for you at the end of the day. Number 16 that you need to do when you get paid at the end of the month is that you need to know your goal. You need to know your goal. You must know your savings, spending, and investment goals for you to be able to be successful or to build financial independence. So your savings should be able to cover you for a period of 3 to 12 months of emergency or a case of emergency. You see, sometimes life happens, you may lose your job or you find yourself, you need money to service your car, or you find yourself in an emergency that you needed to spend money. Now, in most cases, people always dive their hands into what I call their investment. They take money from investment because they don't have what I call a saving culture. They don't put a certain amount of money aside for a period of emergency. And that's why I always say that your saving is actually for a period of emergency and it is not for your spending. It is not for spending. Your saving is supposed to keep you in a period of emergency so that when life happens, you can be able to depend on that savings for a period of time before you find yourself back at the end of the day. So your saving should be able to cover you for a period of 3 to 12 months, even when you're not doing anything. Then your investment should be able to appreciate over time. That is, the more you earn more money, the more you invest your money. Because the shortest way to building financial freedom or financial independence is when you actually invest. So the more you invest, the more wealthier you become at the end of the day. So your savings is actually for a period of emergency, and when life happens, you should be able to cover you. Then your investment should be for appreciation. You should not touch that investment. That's why we call it what I call a decade of sacrifice. It's something that you build over time, that over time, after 10 years or 15 or 20 years, the money is going to compound there very, very well. The last one, which is number 7, if you want to build wealth through your salary, is to invest for what I call better returns. Better returns. You see, there are different ways through which you can actually invest your money. Now, when you talk about investing your money, you can be a passive investor or an active investor. A lot of people don't understand what I mean by a passive investor or an active investor. Now, when you talk about a passive investor, it means that you are the kind of a busy type. You don't have time to invest, to watch the market, how the market is actually appreciating and depreciating. You don't have an history or the idea of investment, so you can go for what I call a passive investment or being a passive investor. But being an active investor, there's a lot of nitty-gritty that is actually involved. You need to have a very sound financial education if you want to be an active investor. So an active investor, you must do what I call market research. Market is actually dynamic. Market is dynamic, it's changing every day. So if an active investor, you need to have an idea about the market. But if you don't have an idea about the market, you can go for what I call a passive investor. That is, you actually invest your money. Your portfolio investment manager is actually investing money for you, and you are getting a return in form of an interest or a commission at the end of the day. It can be 3 months, it can be every day, it can be 6 months, it can be every year, depending on your portfolio investment plan. So if you're an active investor, you must do research on market shift. Now, there are different kinds of market shift. Number 1 is what I call Main Street shift. We also have what we call the Wall Street shift. There will also have what we call the government shift, where there is a shift in government spending. So I've mentioned 3 shifts now: Main Street shift, Wall Street shift, and the government shift. There also have what we call the innovation shift, where there is what I call a shift in technology or pattern. Then last we have what we call the broad market shift, where there is a broad market economic system, such as the central bank. Being an active investor, the returns are very, very high, but the risks are very, very high as well. But being a passive investor, the returns are lower and the risks are also lower. So it depends on your choice. But in our own part of the world, if you are not the type of person that you have more financial education, if you are the kind of person that are very, very busy, if you are the kind of person that you don't have the time to look into the market shift and rest of them, then it is better for you to actually invest your money as a passive investor. So I've mentioned different ways through which you can actually become wealthy through your salary, and I hope you have actually gained something in this video. if I actually get something in this video, now it is actually time for you to subscribe to this channel. Don't forget to share this video, and don't forget to leave your comment and also to like my videos. Till I see you next time, thank you and God bless you. Bye bye.